Hello, welcome to another vlog. This time we're at Snetterton circuit and it is round one of the Pirelli Super Series 600 Championship with no limits. I decided now was as good a time as any to start the vlog, seeing as though the weather outside is looking pretty drab. I mean, I don't know how well this will pick it up, but we're in the caravan. It's supposed to rain at 10 o'clock. The GoPro's actually making it look a lot brighter than it is. It's pretty miserable out there. The good news is that Saturday and Sunday actually look pretty good, today being Friday. I'm supposed to be out on track in half an hour, so fingers crossed, you know, the rain holds out for then. I can't see me getting, I mean, I could go out in the rain, but obviously, you know, the chance of a crash or something's higher, and we're not going to be racing in those kind of conditions, fingers crossed. So there's probably very little to be gained by going out there whilst it's wet. So fingers crossed we get out in half an hour. So I've got a better front facing camera this weekend. When I was in Cartagena, I killed the camera that I used to use, which is why the footage ended up really high quality. If you haven't seen that, go and watch it. It was filmed on this GoPro 7 in 2.7K 60 frames a second. I've got myself a GoPro Hero 5 for the front of the bike. That's going to sit just behind the windscreen, so we should get some decent footage. The camera should be safe and not too much image stabilization, which should make it look a little bit quicker, because the image stabilization on the GoPro quite often makes you look very pedestrian, and that's not what I want my videos to look like. So yeah, I'll see you in the next bit of the vlog. My worst fears have been realised. Yeah, I am not going out there. People are rolling round at 3 miles an hour, but it's not for me. Oh. Oh no, it's getting wet in here. Well, having just watched the first session, it's not massively wet. I mean, it's enough for spray to come off the tyres, so I'm going to chuck in the well-used wets which I've done a couple of dry races on, and see how it feels on them. I have got a brand new set of wets, but obviously I would rather save them for the weekend just in case it rains. So yeah, see how it goes. Well, this is a part of the vlog I was hoping I wouldn't have to shoot for at least a little while yet. I had a high side coming out the last corner. Obviously it's only the test day today. Bike isn't too bad. Unfortunately I've smashed the exhaust can, well, sort of squished it a little bit. A few scratches to the fairings. Got away quite luckily really. Clip-ons bent back and replaced that. But my hand is, I mean, you're not going to be able to tell because honestly you don't know what my hand normally looks like. But I've definitely smacked my hand off the floor quite a lot, and at first I thought I'd broke my collarbone, but I think I've just took something's battered me on the collarbone, because it's quite, I mean, I can lift it above my head, but holding it out in front of me is quite painful. So the hand is the biggest concern, because like this section, hold that like that, this section here is all swollen. Don't know if you can see the difference in the two hands there. So putting any kind of pressure through there on the handlebars, you know, when you're braking hard, is going to be difficult. But well, I've made this bed, so I'm going to have to lie in it. Oh, just need to say thanks to Callum Grigor's dad again for lending me his jet wash. I can't even remember what point I got up to in the vlog yesterday. Obviously I did have a crash. It wasn't great. The bike damage wasn't too bad. A high side was coming out of the last corner in the wet. It's very slippery at Snetterton, as I probably alluded to earlier in the vlog, regardless of what the track conditions are like. But me being me, I kept hold of the bike. Initially I thought I might have broke my collarbone, but I just took an impact to it, and you might be able to see that. I don't know if you can see there. Can you see? Is there a bruise there?
Yeah, you can now.
Oh well, yeah. So I took an impactor there, and then, but also on my hand. Oh yeah, I remember saying on my hand. So now you can actually see. So now you can see it's actually getting fat. It's bruised. So we're just gonna see what we can do. It's wet still today, with a high humidity in the caravan, as you can see. But it's, well, it is what it is, isn't it? So got qualifying in 2 hours. With it being wet, it is going to be less physical, but obviously you have got an arsehole like a rabbit's nose around here, so we'll just see how it goes. So as you will have just seen in that footage, the bike has got some kind of sporadic misfire, and it was far too risky for me to even attempt doing a lap, because you'd open the throttle, nothing, bang, nothing, bang, and it was just, it's totally unrideable. I'm sure it sounds pretty terrible in the footage as well, so fingers crossed it's a little bit of nothing. But starting from the back of the grid is obviously, well, the worst place you could start, so not a happy bunny at the moment. Well, the weather is playing absolute havoc with the schedule. I mean, I couldn't even tell you how far behind, but I should be out shortly, and there's just no way. There's like 3 races to go. Haven't heard anything from race control, and the newcomer 600 grid has just been sent back, like to the gazebos or whatever, so don't know what's going on there. Good news is that the bike's fixed. It was a quick shift sensor that had gone. Strangely, it wasn't sort of giving any kind of symptoms when it wasn't in gear, even though the quick shift sensor itself doesn't know that it's in gear. It was just once you'd selected the gear, it was intermittent. So we ended up changing loads of things to solve it, so fuel filter, spark plugs, and then I was like, oh, we'll just, you know, try unconnecting it. Luckily I had a spare, so we'll see how this next race goes from the back of the grid, eh? Well, so it's Sunday morning and I'm aware no one's seen any onboard footage yet, and that's because the amount of laps I've done has been very low. It rained very heavily last night, so despite the forecast being dry for today, I'm out at 27 minutes past 9 for race 1, and well, I mean, it's still wet. There's puddles down there, so who knows what it'll be like. I'm kind of umming and ahhing if I think it's going to stay wet. I have got a new set of wets. Well, that was an interesting race. Certainly for the first couple of corners there was bikes everywhere, and I had, well, you will have seen, I had to fly into pit lane to avoid a bike that was going unreasonably slowly on a start. For the warm-up lap, which I don't know whether I'll put this in, I hung back to try and gauge the launch, you know, how many revs I needed, and what I've realised is the bike's creeping forwards on the clutch slightly, so I'm not sure how that'll affect me in the dry race when I've got to, you know, use a bit more revs because there's no where you're wheel spinning. I say dry race, obviously I hope it's going to be dry later on today. Managed to come on there with the 7th in class. Totally gutted about the red flag stoppage because there was probably, there must have been 2 Super Series in that group in front. Well, there was Fisher and there was Dave Grace. I could have done both of them on that last lap. So a little bit gutted because that would have mean a 5th overall. I mean a 5th in my class, which, you know, wouldn't have been a bad result starting from the back of the grid. Nonetheless, we got 7th, and I think I'm going to be starting about 7th for the next race, so quite an improvement from 39th I was on the grid. It's definitely the furthest back I've ever started. You'll also see I had another massive moment coming out that last corner to go on to the final lap. Obviously, you know, seeing them bikes in front of me and just wanting to get past them. As soon as I realised I was on the dry part of the track, I give it a wristful, which is probably, you know, 5% more throttle than I should have put in there. And I've jarred my hand again. Obviously, it's still pretty sore, but not bad, all things considered so far. And we're only going to go forwards from here, so roll on race 2. Fingers crossed, it's dry and the sun's out. just seen there, had a pretty good race too. Starting from 11th, my initial start wasn't great, as in, you know, off the line. The clutch is a little bit straight, it's a bit bitey, not as smooth as the engine that I was using last year. Second part of the start was really good though, and I managed to make up a couple of positions. Not sure what I slotted into, probably 6th or 7th place. And then through the next lap or so I managed to pick off another few, and I settled into 4th, I think. Then sort of 2/3 of the way through the race I managed to find a bit more pace, and as you will see, I actually occupied 2nd place for a couple of corners. What I found is, as I was going quicker, my gearing was too short, so it meant before some corners such as Palmer's I was having to go into 4th, I think, and then before you go into Hamilton I was also having to go into 4th, so I needed a longer 3rd effectively. However, I wasn't, so I was going into 4th gear, but into Hamilton in 4th there was just not enough engine brake and I ran wide. I thought I was going down, to be honest. I just tried to, you know, not rejoin the track too hastily. So I mean, that was well, I was in 2nd and I felt like the fastest person on track at that point, so you know, maybe I could have even had a win there. The positives to take from it is that I've obviously got pace similar to the guys who's at the front, despite the fact I'm, you know, still carrying my swollen hand. Yeah, pretty pleased. I'm going to have a look at the GoPro footage now, see what I'm going to do with my gearing, because obviously I need to think about wheelbase length as well as, you know, just the gear ratio. So yeah, pretty pleased with that. 1 race left to go. Hopefully I can get on that box. That's it, end of the weekend. Cheers, Tony. You on me vlog? Say hello. Oh, Tommy. Gentle. It's really so. Thanks. Well done, yeah, I did a decent lap time in the end. No worries. See you later. See ya. Thanks. Yeah, so just finished that race. I got down to a 57 flat, which I'm pretty pleased with, really. It's 1.5 seconds faster than I've ever been before, and the only dry running we've had has been in the races. The last races 2 and 3 just happened now, so I changed the game for that race, and it was better in some areas, but I definitely have taken weight off the front. It was obvious, like some places where I was picking up the throttle, or you know, even just not on throttle, but it was running wide. I could tell, you know, I'd shifted the balance, so don't know, maybe something to think about when I'm writing my setup sheets after the weekend. Well, there she is from this side. She still looks amazing. So I just like to finish this vlog by saying thank you to all my supporters on here. Now there is 2 people missing off this. My granddad, because I'd already commissioned the stickers to get done, and Ben Garthwaite, or he wanted to be called Mr. Weed on here. I'm not sure why. So yeah, a good weekend. I mean, obviously we did have this damage earlier in the weekend, and as I've probably alluded to several times, my hand is pretty sore. But I mean, this time last year I started the season at Silverstone with like getting 7ths and 8ths, I think, or maybe it's a 6th, and I've come out with 1 7th and 2 4ths. And if you discount the people who probably aren't going to be here for the full championship, maybe I got 2nd overall, I'm not quite sure, maybe 3rd, 2nd, I don't know, but yeah. Oh, also I just want to point out, thank you very much to my sponsors, Exercise. You know, they've been with me from the start and I couldn't do it without them, so Alan, Caroline, Cameron, you know, thank you very much. Metcalf Northeast, so that's Craig Metcalf again. He's helped me out for 2 years now and I really appreciate it. You know, all the help I get goes a massive way. Hartlepool Motorcycle Service Centre, so I've got Richie who's been here helping me this weekend. There he is there, just behind the tent. Got Utopia Plumbing Solutions. Again, Mark's came on board for this year and I really appreciate his help. You know, if you need a bathroom or anything like that, obviously northeast based of England, give him a message, he's on Facebook and he's a proper sound bloke, top quality work as well. And then finally, massive thank you to babe number 1. Well, she's the backbone of this team, she's the grafter. Richie's babe number 2. But yeah, good weekend, shit weather, but it's nice to finish on a high, so probably a McDonald's or a Burger King on the way home, I think. Feed this little belly of mine. Yeah, long drive home. See you in the next vlog, thanks for watching. Finally, just to add, I would like to thank everyone who came up to me throughout the weekend to say they watch my vlogs, you know, they really enjoy it. Thank you very much. Sorry if I didn't get your name. And also, make sure you hit that subscribe button because my next video out is going to be showing you how to do a 1 minute 57 lap around Snetterton.